Welcome to the Activity Call Live. Now, let's hear from our special guest host, Stephen Davey.
Oh, man, it is so great to be back on Friday, man. I'm telling you, like Wednesday, legit. I genuinely forgot multiple times that we were actually hosting the TWC because it was just like me getting to talk leadership with some of my brothers and just like it was just like I was enjoying the heck out of it. So if I could host the TWC every week and get that kind of vibe from just being able to talk leadership with men I respect, man, that what it was. I hope that everybody enjoyed it. I know I enjoyed it like crazy, just hearing from men I respect and what they think about things we were talking about. And really, we want to build on that this week because we don't want to just be like, hey, let's all go out and build leadership, find new leaders. Let's go wide. I hope we hammered that. I hope that point came through loud and clear on the call. Don't just be too wide. I mean, go wide, go abundant, believe in abundance, right? We don't want to just be a feel good on that. Today, we want to really get tactical. So we want to build on what we talked about Wednesday with some tactical stuff. Because here's the thing. Inspiration without information that doesn't turn into action was just a little bit of cotton candy that felt good for a moment. And so that's what we want to do today. We hope we inspired you on Wednesday. Today, we want to really get tactical. And then by God, let's hit it running. Maybe we'll try and finish even a few minutes early, but by 11 a.m. today, East Coast time, let's be running with our tactics on taking this company, think about this. If every organization triples its width, before the end of the year, think about where this could go. Think about how many new leaders we would have. It just takes the lid off of it. I'm getting crazy here. All right. So before we get into it, I do want to mention the Mutual of Omaha contests for Portugal. I'm telling you, there's so many different ways to go to Portugal right now. There's the contest that Andy's running. There's the Mutual of Omaha one. Clay texted me a screenshot yesterday, and he was like, "Dude, look at who you have winning in this contest. I got 3 rookies fighting in it. I got 4 vets fighting in it." So I'm telling you, if you're not watching that contest, it's another opportunity to get someone else, to get yourself or someone else to Portugal. If you're on that leaderboard as a rookie or a vet and you've already won the trip, the cool thing is that trip is still won. And the trip that you win by doing that will go to the next person in the base shop, in your base shop. So it's like a team thing. Go out and get it for your team, right? If you're on the leaderboard for the vets, if you're on the leaderboard for the new ages, go get it for your team. Go get it for your team. I'm telling you, there are 0 reasons to miss Portugal. Portugal is going to be awesome. Holly and I are so over the moon fired up to be in Portugal. We did a Portugal trip years ago with Foresters years ago, and it was just one of the most incredible. Holly and I still talk about that trip. So I'm telling you, this is yet another thing. Mutual of Omaha, they're teeing the ball up. All you got to do is get in the game and go, man. I'm telling you, watch that leaderboard. I would start picking out who I'm passing and climbing this week. Big opportunity. Let's get more people to Portugal. I'm telling you what. The trips with more people, it's always better. Like I still get cold goosebumps thinking about Thailand and what an amazing trip that was and all the places we've been. So Mutual of Omaha contest, watch it, get on it, find your people that are on it. Let's push. All right, so let's go ahead and if we can get like all 4 of us on it at the same time, what I really wanted to do is take each of these points and we're just going to kind of talk about it as a team. We prepared content specific to each guy for each point on the Wednesday call. But hey, now what I want to do is throw it out there and we're just going to have a conversation about it. All right, so here's the first thing we want to talk about. We talked about finding those leaders. You've got to spend real time with your leaders. Now, here's what I know. Real time is real inconvenient. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's always funny when folks are like waiting for things to be convenient, man. It's never going to be convenient. Real time with your people. Here's the thing. It should be real inconvenient, right? Because that's where you really show you care. If everything you do for the people you love is only convenient, I would question how much you actually love those people, right? The care is shown in the inconvenience. But Brandon, Terry, Chang, let's talk about it, guys. But what are some of the ways that you guys like to spend real time so that if I'm an emerging leader, right? Like a Wednesday's call, something Terry said, something Brandon said, something Ryan Chang said, got me stirred up. All right, so I'm going to go find new leaders. Let's talk about how to go spend real time with those leaders.
Yeah. So, Stephen, thanks so much, man, for hosting this call and inviting me on. You're right, man. It felt like we was just I used to go to the barbershop, but it just felt like being in the barbershop, just chilling with the guys, just shooting the breeze, as we say down here in North Carolina. But one of the things that I look for is this right here. I remember when I first got started, it's these Andyisms for me, right? I'm serious. We got to create this lexicon, because he says this right here. It's hard to kiss a girl leaning from you. It's hard to climb a fence leaning towards you. And it's hard to help someone who don't want to help themselves. So as we're looking for emerging leaders, we're looking for those who are leaning in. What does leaning in look like? To me, it looks like, okay, you're texting me about I'm fired up on the call, or I got this nugget, like, hey, I'm paying attention. I want to be one of the people that you pour into. I am committed. I am serious. I am locked in. So to me, the first step is seeing somebody who wants to lean in. So that way we're not always just constantly trying to pull people. But it is so easier to kiss if you lean in and I lean in at the same time. We're going to get some fireworks going, baby. So for me, that's a big factor. And then once those people identify themselves, that is the cool part about our opportunity. Leadership is actually taken. It's not given.
Yeah.
Once we identify somebody who wants to lean in, omg.com, leaders in our organization, we are not afraid to invest our time, money, and energy. And getting inconvenient, I can remember, man, very vividly, Mia Fennell, when she was first getting started, like, she would be a mental wreck in the middle of the day. And I'd be like, Mia, okay, I get it. But what I'm going to need for you to do is to schedule your meltdown time. Let your meltdown time happen after 11 p.m., not during peak income hours. And then when those meltdowns happen, I want you to call me. I don't care what time of day it is. And I remember being on the phone with her at 1, 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. And she's fired up. I'm talking about something. And then she might start crying on me. And then I got to tap Tia. I put her on mute while she's melting down. I tap Tia. Hey, Tia, wake up. I need your help. She crying. Help me get her calm down. But the crazy part, that's real. And Mia is okay with me sharing that. Because look at her, like, never, since she's been here, have always qualified for every all-expense-paid vacation that we've done, every trip. One of the top people to ever do it in our organization. So we're looking for those who want to lean into us, and then we will definitely be more than happy to pour our money, time, and energy into that person.
Yeah, and I love that nuance. Actually, first, let me say, Mia, thank you for, like, I always appreciate people that are vulnerable, because when you're vulnerable and people know that, hey, the stuff I go through doesn't mean I'm like some sort of leadership failure and a wreck. No, we all go through it, right? So thank you for your vulnerability, Mia. That is so powerful. But thank you for that nuance, Terry, because, like, I've made this mistake, right? Like, you get somebody on your team and you think, I want this person to be like the next big person, right? But they're not leaning in. So then you fly halfway across the country and then you go, well, I guess it just doesn't work, right? So I love that nuance, because I would hate for someone to get off this call and be like, schedule a trip, baby. I'm going here. I'm going here. I'm going here. I'm going here. Do you have someone that's actually leaning in? And what does leaning in look like? Thank you for that nuance. Brandon Chang, what do you guys, or if, hey, tell a story of sometime you traveled and it was a disaster, or sometime you traveled and it worked out great.
I got a couple of those.
Hey, by the way, before you start, Brandon, let me just tell you something. Until you travel far, far away and have it be a disaster, then you've not been initiated.
Yeah, that's mine was a double whammy, because I'll give you guys another lesson here is, remember, it was one time, it was right when Spencer got started in the business. And I remember me and him, we went all the way out to Idaho, right? So we go all the way out to Idaho, and there's a group that we're trying to work some depth with, and we get out there, and we're all juiced up when we go, because we're like, hey, she's got 20 moms that's going to be there. Like, we're going to have a full room. It ended up being her and one other guy in the meeting total. And the guy that was with us was her upline that flew in from New Jersey. So it was me, Spencer. So here's the other lesson that I'll give you is never book a trip where especially if you're going that far, don't ever book a trip where you don't have other trips lined up. I remember when we got back from that trip, Andy was not, Andy's mentality is always like, if there's one person in the meeting, you treat it as if there's 1,000 people in the meeting, right? So we did, and his biggest thing, I think he was living in Florida in the time, and I'm glad I wasn't in Florida at that time, because I think he would have punched me in the face for not having multiple. We flew all the way out to Idaho and came right back. So that's another lesson. So to your point, though, just to hit on a couple other things. When you're traveling and you're it doesn't, there's some other ways to spend time with leaders, right? But a lot of times it comes from traveling, whether you're going out there to do a hot spot with them, whether you're going out there to do some sort of boot camp, or if you're doing a ride along on the virtual side, I call it a work along, because you're not really traveling in the car, but you're spending all day with them, right? And so what you're doing is in that time you're coaching them, you're giving them examples, right? Like when I'm sitting down with somebody on the virtual, like I'm making calls as well, it's like you've got to do that to show the example. Because what you're trying to show them is what Terry's point on Wednesday was: when you get around leaders, you realize the speed at which they work, what they accomplish in one day. And what that does to a new person is it sets that example of like, hey, look, I got the same amount of time as him. And I get up the same way, put on my pants the same way every morning. And so you're trying to set the example for the pace of which this business needs, because you got to, this is a fast-paced business, in my opinion. So, but what happens in those meetings is the aftermath is what you're really after, right? So after a long day of making calls, after a long day of riding appointments, and appointments, when you're doing face-to-face, when you're going on appointments with people, you have 8 hours in a car with them. You can't really escape each other, right? Like you find out things about them, they find out things about you, things that you probably shouldn't even know, So, but here's where the beauty of that is you get the opportunity to find out what they want, what they need, and so that's where because you can't define. I was talking to James Coleman about this a couple of months ago, is you can't really define someone's goals for them. That's unfair to them. Right? So we've got to understand where they're at and where they want to go so that we can help them get there. And a lot of times too, I'm going to hit on this point too, because this doesn't just have to be like, well, hey, I only talk to them when I'm traveling to them. No, like this is where late night calls, Terry was just talking about, this is where late night calls become a thing. Like a lot of times I'm always working on something like a system, like I'm talking to Chat GPT or Claude to get it to develop something for me. But during those moments, you have these like thoughts of something. It just reminds you when you're working of somebody you need to talk to and something you want to tell them. And so when you call them, you just start talking to them. And the next thing you know, you're in this deep conversation with them about how they're doing. How are you doing? How's everything going? And you've got to have these conversations with people because that shows that you really care. It shows that you want to see them succeed. And I think you were talking about it, they want to be heard. You were talking about the herd and love psychology. You can't really tell a difference when you're pouring into your leaders like that and having these conversations. I mean, this past week I was at the beach, and daggone near every night I was on the phone. I was trying to stay up because they were going to bed and the baby's sleeping, and I got time, right? And it's like, dude, I'm up on the phone talking with people, and we're getting into we might have started the conversation based on this, but now we're down in this wormhole of talking about other things and where they want to go in the business. And I think those are so important because when you have somebody that you're pouring into, you got to know where they're at and where they're wanting to go so that you know how you can help.
Yeah. And I love the stuff you're talking about, Brandon, because here, like, it's something I have to keep reoccurring to myself is like, remember the emotional toughness you have today, you did not always have. Right. And it's easy to forget that. Right. Like, I'm like, yeah, that's, like, well, of course I would just like get back to work, like, but that's not always been me. And it's easy to forget that. And it's in those conversations that you can help them build that mental toughness. And so, if you're a leader out there, please, I'll help remind you, you help remind me that the emotional toughness that you and I have today, we didn't always have that. We used to come unglued a lot easier. We used to let things pull us down a lot easier. And those conversations you're talking about, Brandon, those are great, man. That's good stuff, brother. Thank you for bringing that out. Chang?
David.
Yes, sir.
Hey, and speaking of that, on the leader side, I think it's very important too to remember how hungry we were for even to reach up for coaching. Yeah, I think sometimes we get to a point where we feel like we got it and we don't need our upline. But it's been numerous of times, man. Andy Riddle is one of the most mentally tough people who can recover fast from
that's exactly who I was thinking of when I was telling
that. So me and Chris Long, we catch feelings. Like, you know what I'm saying? When somebody disappoints us, it really hurts us to our core. So when I get that hurt, I know I immediately have to reach up to Andy Riddle to help me recover so that I don't lay in my crap and waddle in it. So even as leaders, don't forget to reach up to our growing uplines. I don't care if you're an integrity partner, junior board member, or whatever the case, or whatever level you are, like, reach up. Don't get too big for your britches that you can't call home to mama and daddy.
I love it. Awesome. Chang, what do you say, brother?
Yeah, so I mean, I know some of you guys probably know, and Brandon knows the schedule that I had. It was kind of crazy traveling to all over the country. I think I had June and July, we have 9 cities lined up. And one of those things that I've learned was, when Andy Albright does an N24/7 RU tour, does he only go to one city? No, right? It's usually 2 or maybe usually 3 cities. And, I had a story where I was going back to Oklahoma City, my stomping grounds, I call it, because that's where I grew up, where I work in retail. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to go back, start building something. And we have a lot of resume, a lot of interviews set up. When I got there, all my interview blew out. Every single one of them. And I go,
welcome to the club.
Yeah. I'm like, you know what? Initiation has happening. But kind of think back 10 years ago, Stephen, was like my first day on the field. I had 5 appointments, 5 fact finders set up. They all blew out also. So that didn't faze me because I already got a backup plan of I'm going to schedule my meetings in the office next to the mall I used to work at. And Andy said, guess what? Well, go out there. I'm not going to sit in the office and just cry. I'm going to go out there and start recruiting people, start talking to people, and making a list of people I'm going to come back and follow up. Because one thing about leadership is at some point, you can't invest the same time for everybody. There's no way, right? But however, we can give everybody the same opportunity and see who are responding with hunger, with activities, right, with commitment and coachable, and they were willingness to do the 8 steps, right? Those are the people that will end up spending and invest more time with.
I love it. So, hey, what's the tactical? Isolate who you're going to go see. Build a plan that should, as if you want to be a leader, that should be a part of your every month. not just a one-off, but what's your September plan, right? So we're coming up on August 21st, right? What's your September plan? What leaders do you have? Who are you going to go see? Well, I don't have any leaders yet. Then let's go crazy adding width and find leaders somewhere, so that by the last week of February, you've got people to go see. So where are you going to go in September? I'm going to be traveling in September to go see people. Terry's going to be traveling. Brandon's going to be traveling. Chang's going to be traveling. So come with us. But let's get that plan. All right. So let's talk about responsibility. One of the things that I always appreciated about Andy with me coming up in the business, I remember things differently. I don't know and it's probably just like a single ISO affliction that only I have because I'm special. But I tend to remember things about me and the way I handled them probably better than the rest of the world with their mistakes of everything. So if anybody ever needs details or clarity on how I've handled everything, just come to me. The rest of the world, they didn't understand. Right? No, I say that because one thing I always appreciate about Andy, when I was not polished, when I was rough around the edges, when I was still learning, dude, he put me in positions to teach and to lead. And so, whenever people come up to me, I'm still at a point in life where I'm just like, when people want to hear what I have to say, I'm still like, oh my God, really? It's like, okay, be cool, Davies, be cool and teach. But it's like, when people say things like, man, yeah, I really enjoy the way you teach, the way you talk, things like that, guys, that has been a process, right? Andy got me reps early and often. So Terry, Brandon, Chang, I'd love to hear, what are some of the things, like if I'm out there and I'm, because I think sometimes leaders, they'll get to a certain level and all of a sudden they've got to do all the teaching because they teach better than their people, which is true. But just because you can teach better than your people, what you're missing is the opportunity for them to grow in their ability to sell, to recruit, to teach. So, guys, let's talk about this for a little bit.
Yes. So there's a principle. I think there's even a NA University course on it called TLC, Teach, Listen, and Correct. See, most of us think us teaching is like a classroom where you're an instructor standing in front, giving a lecture. It's good for the ego.
Yep.
But actually, teach is you're teaching it by inviting others to watch you do it. You see, one of the things that I figured out very early on, so Andy Albright pulled me close to him very fast when I got started with the organization. And he said this: you will never see me slow down to teach you. You're going to watch me do it because I'm not going to slow my business down to teach you. So teaching is actually modeling, you doing it and letting other people watch you. So like sometimes we as leaders, we don't protect our downtime because we can put up a facade that we're building, we're teaching, right? But no. If there's a certain, like for me, this is just my mindset was, until my overrides were enough to cover all of my personal bills, my household bills, plus my business bills, I'm not financially free. So I can't stop selling, right? So me teaching phone script, it was not a lot of me doing one-on-ones with people, teaching them how to do the phone script. It was, hey, I'm going to be doing dials on this day from 8 to 11, from 1 to 4, and from 7 to 10 p.m. Find one of them times, and you are more than happy to get on and watch me do it. I'm going to be doing interviews in these blocks. Watch me do it. So teach by doing, so that way you don't slow your personal production and your personal production if you need it for income. And then listening is you watching them do it. And then you provide coaching to help make minor adjustments. But a lot of times, man, I find so many leaders, they become teacher to where's the production? Where's the width? We're doing all this teaching, but where's the results? We can't get lost in teaching that we lose the results.
Thank you for bringing that up, because I'm trying to think how I want to say this. I don't want to say it in a mean way. Well, let's just call it what it is. One feeds the ego, right? Because I am a leader, I will do all the teaching, I will teach, instead of writing daggone business, right? So that feeds the ego. Getting cussed out by someone else's grandma hurts the soul. so if you're always reaching for the other, just be clear what you're doing. It's not leadership, it's avoidance.
Yeah.
Right. Man, thank you for bringing that out, Terry. Brandon, Chang, let's talk about equipping these leaders we got coming up. And by the way, when Terry, I'm sorry, Terry triggered me. Terry triggered me. It's not my fault. Terry's also teaching by protecting his dial time, right? He's teaching by protecting his dial time. You say, well, he's focused on personal production. No. That is a powerful lesson. If you learn that from Terry and you're on his team, text him and thank him for teaching you that by example, instead of just putting on another Zoom call for you, right? So, Brandon, I'm sorry.
All right, you're good. Hey, so, I think the biggest point here is when you're not ready, when you feel uncomfortable doing it, that's where you grow. Like, we were joking about this before the call started, but I was very early in my career. If you were at conference, you got to hear Robbie talk about this. One of Robbie's favorite stories of me is watching me do my first opportunity meeting, which was about 6 whole minutes. And I remember I looked at Robbie as kind of like, rescue me, bro. Like, come on. Hey, what did I miss anything, Robbie? And he just goes, no, he did good, and so the biggest thing there was afterwards, we certainly had, he's like, you might want to hit on this, you might want to hit on that, you might want to slow down on these parts and tell them how the business works. And so I was not ready by any means at that point, but he made me get up there and do it. But here's where I grew too, is I never wanted to be up in front of a group of people and do that poorly again. You know what I mean? So when you talk about going and studying it and watching YouTube, and there's opportunity videos on YouTube on the Alliance, right? So go watch those things, pick up what people say. You start stealing what everybody else is saying. And then all of a sudden it becomes your thing. And then maybe you add some flair to it and you're like, yeah, that's my thing, right? But when you're like in this, when you're getting a leader to do something, whether it's leading a training call, whether it's leading a hotspot, sure, you're prepping them, right? But most of your prep, to Terry's point, comes in them seeing you do it and explaining to them. I think this is an important thing, is you've got to explain to them while you're teaching them what you're doing and why you're doing it. Does that make sense? Like, if you've ever seen, Terry does one of the most exciting opportunity meetings. He works the room like a comedian. That's what he does. Like, he gets them so engaged with him that they can't be like, Terry, when you were talking about the guy up there giving a lecture and stroking the ego, that's the most boring meeting to be a part of, right? Like, that's where you see a bunch of people like this in the back. Scrolling on Instagram because they're like, I need something to motivate me. This guy ain't doing it, so but you're teaching them, and even going back to like things like them leading their first recruiting call. Maybe you're on it, but you're letting them lead it. But if they've seen the examples and if you've had those conversations about, did you see how they brought up this? Did you see how I dove in on this because this is important and here's why. On the phone script, like, you see how they came to this? That was an objection. You see how I overcame it? Yeah. They said this, I said this. They brought up this, I dove into that. They opened the door for me, I took it. Right? Those are the things where you're really prepping them to do it themselves, is when you're actually teaching them. And then once you're watching them do it, you're learning a little bit about their model, and you start hearing them do things and say things. And that's where you coach them at. So, but you got to give them responsibility for them to take that next step, or else you're really holding them back.
Yeah. Brandon, one thing you said, I thank you for saying, because again, it's kind of like the other thing I talked about with how emotionally strong all of us are, that we sometimes forget that we weren't always this emotionally strong. When you and I and Chang see Terry work in the room, we know exactly what he's doing and we know why he's doing it. But we fail our people if we don't explain those things. It's like it's the curse of competence gets us on that a lot of times, where we fail to equip a leader because we don't go, now, do you know why Terry is doing that? Let me explain why Terry's doing that. Let me explain to you why he has his hands wide open to the crowd. Let me explain like that. That's a good catch, Brandon. That is so important because I forget to do it. I forget to do it.
And the other, to add on to that, and this is the activity call. So we're talking about how to do it, right? So for phone script, when we're making dials, we don't have time to stop after every phone call and give an explanation. So what we do is we'll dial for 55 minutes, and then I'll take a 5-minute break to answer any questions, and then I'm right. You ain't, because we got to keep moving. All right. Now, on the recruiting side, 9 times out of 10, if you're listening to a veteran recruit, they can put the phone on mute while the person that they're talking is rambling about whatever and give you some insight on mindset. Okay, this is what I'm about to do. Watch this. Hey, listen, pay attention. Watch this. Watch how I flip this. And so I think that's very important, because if you're going to be listening to somebody make dials, don't interrupt them after every call. That's going to stop rhythm. That's going to mess their rhythm up. And then the last thing, too, like you talked about, as far as we as veterans, it's funny how we know what's going on. Like, we're part of the show. So please act as if it's your first time that you've heard it. Like, I was in an opportunity meeting one time, and it's always the people at the back that never have anybody that's standing up, but they know how to tell you everything. And then there's like, he say that joke all the time. Like, bro, like, come on. Like, what are we doing? Like, don't be that guy. Don't be that girl. Be a part of the show. Act as if. Bring somebody new.
That's right.
They're propping the back wall up with their expertise. So we don't fall down on the rest of us. Yeah, no, seriously, Terry, nothing makes me want to go. Everybody thinks I'm always happy and jolly. Sometimes inside I'm going, Chang, jump in on this, brother.
You know, at some point, leadership requires handoffs. Right? If you're the only person always coaching, teaching, solving the problem, you didn't develop any leaders on your team. You develop a lot of followers. And can you truly answer that question? If, let's say, Terry stopped today, can the business still go? If Steven and Brandon, if you guys stop today, does your business still run without you? Right. And I think one of the biggest thing is, to Terry's point and everything has said, there's actually a formula to this. Right. So the formula is I do, you watch. You do, I watch. And then this is where the magic happens, where the handoff happens. You do, you teach.
Yeah.
And now we're getting it going.
Yeah. Yeah. If you didn't write down what Chang just said, go back and listen to it. It's that simple. It's that simple. But too many times the ego keeps us in the I do, you watch. Absolutely. Guys, let's combine 0.5 and 0.6, but let's hammer this, because unless you do this, then none of the other steps matter, that you don't have anybody to hand it off to. Build with, not in the future, but by next Friday. Build depth, not in the future, but by next Friday. And one thing I'm gonna plead with you on, and step into this with me, right? Let's not engage in avoidance and call it leadership. Right? Avoidance being, I'm not having new conversations to bring in new wit every week because I'm leading. Does that make sense? Because that is that we can fool ourselves like that. But if by God, at the end of the month, you've not added a single person in width, I love you, but you have engaged in avoidance and mislabeled it as leadership.
Yeah, I was at one of my favorite preachers. He's down in South Carolina. His name is Bishop Bonner, I believe that's his name. I see him on Instagram a lot. But he said this right here. This is crazy. He says, isolation. Don't call isolation protecting your peace when you're actually avoiding accepting responsibility by just avoiding the people that you know you wronged, right? So like isolation is Are you calling it protecting your peace, or is it avoidance? So when we talk about width, I think one of the biggest things that we can do is to keep it simple. Like recruiting is not hard at all. Let's keep it very simple, because a lot of times new people won't do it if they think they can't. So it's like the simplest way to recruit is to stop trying to convince people and just simply start finding people. Stop trying to convince people and just start finding people. Because if the system is so complicated that a brand new person can't duplicate it, we don't have a recruiting system. We just got a lot of talented recruiters. Talented, but they're not doing it. They're not bringing people. So how do you keep it simple? Number one, you find people. How do you find them? Where do you find them? They walk amongst us every day. They're actually, if you pull up your cell phone and go to your contact list, you have people right there. And that's free. You know, we're getting prepared for AEP, and you don't like that word in Medicare. You can't use that F word in Medicare. You can't use that 4-letter F word. That no cost is what they say. All right. So there are people in your cell phone. Okay. There are people on your social media list, right? Let's keep it simple.
Yep.
How do you reach out to them? I'm glad you asked. Just keep it simple. Hey, can you talk business for a moment? Question mark. Now, I have an amazing opportunity. It's called the Alliance. We sell, recruit, and build. You know, we got this big convention coming up. I'm so freaking jacked up, blah, 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 blah. Right? No, stop. Yeah. Keep it very simple.
Yep.
All right. Can you chat business for a second? Yes. What's your phone number? If you don't have it, a good lead takes a person off of social media and get them on another landing page, right? Mm-hmm. So we want to get them off of social media and get them on the telehoppy, the telephone. Okay. What do you say? Okay, here we go. I teach this thing. We call it the 3-step setup. Step 1 is you share your why. Step 2, you let them know it's a big deal. And step 3, you take the pressure off of them. And then you show them something. All right. How that sound? Hey, listen, Ryan, thanks for meeting with me. I'm so glad we're chatting. But listen, the reason for the call, you know, I've been working down at the credit union, man, and everything looks good on the outside, but on the inside, Ryan, it ain't. I've been skipped over about 4 or 5 promotions. I know they're not paying me what I'm worth, and I was looking for something. And I found it. Step 2, you let them know a big. Now, listen, this ain't no little side hustle, no flavor of the week. This is a big deal. And it's spreading all over the country. And really, I just want you to take a look at it. And then step 3, you take the pressure off. I don't know how it's going to strike you. It might be for you. It may not. But either way, we're going to start this call as friends, and we're going to end it as friends. I'm going to shoot you a video. What video? Brandon Manley just said there are several opportunity videos out there. You got I Decide. You send them the video. Let the video do all the explaining for you. And then you just get back with the person after immediately after they watch the video or whatever. And if they're interested, you get their questions answered. Now, you don't have to be the answer person. If you can get them on the phone with your growing upline and let your growing upline do the heavy lifting, you can build a massive organization by just keeping it that simple. Can you talk business for a moment? What's your phone number? 3-step setup, show them a video, get them on the phone with your growing upline.
Yeah.
Every brand new person can do that.
Yeah. No, beautiful tactical stuff. Beautiful tactical stuff. And here's what I find. I find most people work to add just enough. They work at it just enough, the width part, to hate it. And they talk to 3 knuckleheads that have been at, this 3-letter company, that 3-letter company, the other 3-letter company. They've been down with OPP. They've been everywhere. That joke was from me and Terry. And anybody else in our age group.
Yeah, we just totally wiped out the millennials, Gen Alpha. Taylor gonna tell me the other day, I'm Gen Alpha. I'm like, bro, what is that?
You started the alphabet over?
I mean,
who approved that? but yeah, no, like, I wouldn't talk to the people they're talking to, and it's because they want to run an ad and engage in a zero casualty game than to work the war market that they've got, or to work the war market of the war market they got. But yeah, I find most people, they work just enough in width to hate it. And that's why at the end of the year, I mean, dear God, let's fix it this fourth quarter, right? For the third. Let's fix it the last third, because we've got a third of the year starting September. Let's not let these embarrassing, and I'm just going to call it what it is. Let's not let these embarrassing width numbers continue into 2027. Because we're better than that, guys. And your next big leg is going to come out in width, because that's how you get to new depth. Brandon Chang.
Yeah, you know how what to rub you the wrong way is when you show up at an opportunity meeting and somebody is there and you didn't invite them. I saw it. This was like a month ago. I was at a meeting and I was talking to a guy, and another guy walked in and goes, I know him. He's like, what's up, man? And I'm like, and so I had to bring this up during the meeting, like I had to bring it up just as hey, look, like in the future, I'd probably reach out to people, because this is what you want to avoid, is someone showing up here. And who's to say, Vinny, y'all know Vinny. So Vinny, when I met Vinny, I met him through his cousin. We were at a housewarming party. Started talking with Vinny. That's how Vinny became a part of the alliance. However, Vinny was recruited into the alliance 3 years before I found it. He didn't do anything with it. But imagine that you don't recruit somebody, and then it's Vinny. And then you recruit a Vinny, you see somebody else recruit a Vinny, and then you see him for the last 6 years be one of the top producers, has $150,000 a month organization. That'll burn you. So here's going back to the point is successful people, they just act quickly, right? Like that's how they do. So if you have any doubt in your mind, you got to get out of your own way. Like this business is for you. You can do this. You can be alongside the people on the stages getting their rings like that. This is something that everyone can do. It's just who takes it and grabs the bull by the horns and does it, right? So when you're thinking about act quickly, you might be like, well, I've never done this before. I've never reached out to anyone. Start with one. That's all I ask you. Like, just start with one person, reach out to them, have one conversation with people. Because here's what's going to happen. There's going to be some momentum that's going to start, because when they do it, they're going to be like, that wasn't that bad. That wasn't that bad. It's like making phone calls for the first time. You sit down, you're making calls, you're all nervous. I mean, you can't lie about it. Like, you're nervous your first dial session, and you're going into it, and you do everything you can to avoid making that first call. Dishes become important. Everything becomes important all of a sudden. But once you make that first one, you get into a rhythm. And you're like, that wasn't that bad. All right, let me make another one. And then the next thing you know, you got your day filled up. It's the same thing with recruiting. So, and I just want to highlight one of Terry's points, because me and Andy had a conversation for about an hour on this. Your upline is your asset. Use them as an asset, or you lose that asset. So here's what I mean by, okay, so when you look, let's say I'm coming in under Terry. I've got assets. I got Terry and Tia Edwards to lean on. I've got Jason and Olga Mathis. I got Andy Riddle. I got Andy Albright, and I got Integrity. I have 5 assets. So if I'm not using that, I'm losing it. So make sure that you're using, like when you're first getting started, say enough to them for them to have another conversation. But you don't have to. Here's the last thing I'll say about this is when, to Terry's point, is when you're vomiting on them about how great the opportunity is, everything like that. Here's what you sound like. You sound very desperate, right? Like the guy at the bar is not going to have any luck acting desperate at the bar. Right. Like, so if you're a part of something that you really think is so great, you shouldn't have to sound desperate and oversell the opportunity.
Yeah.
You just sound odd, and they're like, whoa, like this seems like you're drinking the Kool-Aid, aren't you? You know, they'll start saying things like that to you. You know, so you got to play it cool. It's just like Terry, that ending line is like, hey, I'm not sure if this is going to be something that you're interested in at all, but you know, I figured I'd just give you a shout and see if you're keeping your options open. I'd love to connect you again. If you're very new, I'd love to connect you with Terry and just have him tell you a little bit more about what we're doing. And then you edify the crap out of Terry.
Yeah.
We could have a whole talk on how to edify people, because some people think they're edifying. They're not edifying. You know, you got to edify the person that you're sending them to, so that when they go to Terry, they want to take that call. Yeah. They want to see what this guy's about. Not, yeah, they set me up with this Terry guy. I don't know. Yeah. I'll see how it goes. You know?
I'll tell you, Brandon, like, I love what you're saying. I love what you're saying, man. Like, we've all been on that call, right? And they're like, okay, who are you again? And where it's like, there's nothing I can do now. I might as well hang up. Yeah. Because I have no power. And yeah, I think that'd be great. I know I see Tia listening in. Like, let's get a TWC, get in the weeds on edification, how to, what to, when to. I think it'd be great content. Content. Chang, what are you thinking, brother?
Yeah, and you know, I was the guy that, you know, once I figured out the opportunity and after the convention, I was convinced, you know, so I was one of those guys that was moving very fast, and I cannot wait to share the Alliance opportunity with everybody. But lo and behold, I haven't got, you know, coaching from Brandon and Terry yet, but then that was the moment where, let's say I get into Uber, right? And I get into a lot of Ubers, but within 5 minutes, I am talking about the opportunity. I'm talking about how great it is. I'm talking about my experience, and gosh, before you know it, I'm just, again, what Terry is saying, I'm vomiting on people, I'm oversharing information, and I quickly found out that didn't work. So for me, it was like, okay, well, there's a definition of insanity. There's also recruiting insanity, doing the same process over and over and trying to expect a different results. So what I've started doing now is I get an Uber, but I want to spend most time connecting with that person. Because if I connect enough, I don't need to convince, right? And literally the strategy.
Can you say that one more time, Ryan? That was good.
If I connect enough, I never have to convince. Right. Yeah. And the strategy is literally, you can see the ride, like how long, like until you get to your destination. So we're having this great conversation. We're asking great questions. We're listening. And about 5 minutes before I get out of the car, I say, hey, Lisa, I really enjoy our conversation. I travel all over, man. You have a great personality. I travel all over. I share a lot with people about entrepreneurship, businesses. I'm not even sure if you're looking right now, if timing's even correct, but I'd love to shoot you my information, a little bit of information. We can catch up some other time. I'm still in the exit, right? And then that always worked for me, where not only I'm getting their contacts, hey, I'd love to send you my information, a little bit of context, but we'll connect some other time. Yeah. So go from just talking about the opportunity to, hey, let's make sure I have the time to connect with them. And in that 5 minutes window, I do the magic.
I love it. It's like flounder fishing, right? Most people can't flounder fish because you got to let the flounder really get on the hook. It's different than other fishing. Most people, when they're flounder fishing, they pull back too soon and then they don't get a fish. And
Steven, I won't get the call, but who are you? Because, you know what I mean? Like, we spend a lot of time talking about them.
Right. Hey, by the way, what's everybody's favorite subject?
themselves.
Yeah, and by you doing that, connecting, they're not going to remember. So like if you do the vomit recruiting, they don't remember any of that, and you sound like every other weirdo that's trying to get them into, lotions, potions, travel, XYZ. You sound like everybody else, right? But
and then you say, but we're not hiring everybody.
Hey, let me tell you something. Once you blow your posture, you can't get it back. you might as well hang up and move on.
Your recruiting got the scoliosis.
Once you blow the posture, you're done. I mean, you're done. When I met Holly for the first time, I was like, and she was like, I just moved to that area. We talked for a little bit. She's like, I just moved to the area. I don't really know anybody. And I was like, well, you know me now, don't you? And then I walked away. And then she was like, I didn't know if I met the biggest arrogant jerk in the world or if I met my future husband, but either way, I was intrigued. And that's really what you want. You want to leave them intrigued.
And that takeaway is so vital. Like I remember this right here, Davis. One time, me and Tia had broke up for a little while we was going together. Not since we've been married, but since we've been going together. We was going together. And so she came to Elizabeth City State University for new student orientation. And I got wind that she was going to be there. Now, that was my heart. I wanted that girl back bad. My mama called all my other girlfriends Tia on purpose. She didn't like nobody else I found. She liked Tia. So I got wind that Tia was going to be there. So I go into the cafeteria at the time that I knew she was going to be in there. So she's sitting at the table with all her little new orientation friends. And I walk up in there with my frat shirt on and my shorts and my Timberland boots and my safari, I call it my go to hell hat. I was looking cute. I knew that was one of her favorite outfits. So I walk over there. I speak to everybody at the table. Except her. I didn't want her to think that I was desperate, but I did want to get her attention. And that takeaway is an attention grabber.
Yep. Whether you want to learn how to recruit or you need dating advice, we encourage you. Please tune in every Friday.
It's all recruiting. It's all recruiting.
It's all recruiting.
It's all recruiting.
Recruiting is dating.
Yeah, and then that's how you get to the depth, right? And then sometimes you get 3 deep, which is where apparently Holly and I are old enough to be becoming grandparents. It's wild. I still can't wrap my mind around it.
Hey, can I just add one quick thing? Is you gotta walk a line when you're recruiting people, because you can't sound, as we're talking about, sounding too excited, right? And word vomiting, but you can't sound dead either. Yeah. Okay, like you can't get on the phone and say, "Hey, Steven, hey man, I started doing something new in the financial services." You can't sound like that. Like you've got to find a middle ground to where you don't sound like, "Hey, Steven, man, listen, I'm doing this new financial services business, and I think you'd be great." You can't sound like that, and you can't sound dead. You got to find somewhere in the middle. You got to meet them. Yeah,
like everything in life, Brandon, strength is in the middle. The weakness is on the perimeters. Strength is always in the middle. So here's what I want to do. I'm going to give them a couple of questions to run with this week, and then I want to end this call the same way we ended TWC. My thoughts are not as good as all our thoughts. We put a lot of stuff in the pool, so I would love to know what you guys have refined through this call. So here's some questions for you. Who am I personally developing? Like get a white sheet of paper. Let's get some real answers, not head answers, because head answers are usually not accurate answers. Head answers are usually self-esteem enhancing answers. Let's get on a white sheet of paper. Who am I actually developing? Where am I creating new width? Where am I creating additional depth? So how many people am I personally developing? Where am I creating new width? Where am I creating additional depth on a white sheet of paper? Write it out. even you Gen Alphas, you can find a white sheet of paper at a local purveyor of paper products in your area. I want you to do it on a sheet of paper. It's just something about it's anytime you involve more senses, right? Feeling the texture of the pen on the paper, the smell of the ink, all of that is involving more senses as you just learn, you think deeper. And then the fourth question, who is becoming more of a leader this week? So who became more of a leader this week? And then the last question I'll give you is, what does your top 10% of leaders look like? Well, one of the questions I get all the time when I'm talking to people, I'm doing hotspots especially, and it typically comes from, the recycled agents that have been everywhere and looking for an answer outside of themselves for success. But it's always like, well, how many people do you have writing business every week? And I'm like, I could look that up, but this is always my answer. I was like, I could look that up, but I honestly don't care. What I am more obsessed with is, what does my top 10% of leaders look like? And is that an improving quality, right? Like, what is the quality of my top 10% of leaders? Because that's what's going to move everything else. I mean, you'll have the unique writers. So like in 2027, if my top 10% of leaders are not higher quality, it doesn't mean we have to change the people, right? Sometimes you got to change the people. You can't change the people. Sometimes it's new people that come in. But what is that quality? What is the quality of the leadership of that group? So those are some questions I want you to white sheet on, and then make it tactical. Get a plan. Book a week in September. Find out where your growing uplines traveling. Travel with your growing. Make plans. Please don't let this be just another set of calls where you feel good about it, but your calendar doesn't change. Right? If your calendar doesn't change after these calls, then we've failed, right? It's just been an information feel good. So please, let's see some calendar change coming out of this. Let's go around the horn. Chang, what has distilled in your thoughts as we've all been chatting together today?
I would say that never stop developing relationships. Like, some people get so busy, worry about the 1 or 2 or 3 legs they got going on, and they forget to build more relationship along the way. And always, I think, remember and try to remind myself that it's not about how much I can do, how much I can teach. It's about how much, at some point I got to hand that off. And that's very important. As a good reminder too is, width will give you the profitability, right? The depth will give you stability. But here's the thing, guys, duplication will get you freedom. Duplication will get you freedom. Like, I obviously, we heard the two, right? The width and the depth, right? But that duplication earns you the freedom, right? What's the number 3 questions and number 4 questions in every opportunity meeting? How do you do it? How do you make money? That's what I love about the alliance. It's about, yes, we can give you the opportunity, right? We give you the environment, we give you the example, but how do you run? And at some point, how do you teach others to run? And that's where duplication start happening. And we're going to get our freedom right there.
I love it. And Ryan, if you're gonna drop bombs like that, you gotta have a mic handy just so you can. Because that was a mic drop. That was awesome, brother. Thank you. That is going. I remember what you said today from talks I'm going to give next week while I'm on the road. Awesome stuff, Manley.
Yeah, I would say stop having self-limiting belief. View yourself as a successful person. Even if you're not where you want to be, think less about the self-limiting beliefs you have about yourself and where you're going to be in the next 5 years. And what does that look like, right? Like, we talk about successful people moving quickly. Successful people also, going back to the assets, they utilize their assets, right? So here's where I would just start this week. In the next 7 days, commit to, first of all, in the next day, I'm going to talk to one person. I'm going to talk to one person. That's not, see, I don't want to give you, hey, in the next week, go talk to 50 people. Just one person. And what that's going to do is that's going to give you, you're going to see how this works. Find one person that's interested in the business in the next week. If you're brand new to this, utilize your assets. Listen to those calls, start to develop that, and watch your momentum go of, hey, this isn't that bad. I can keep doing it. And now you vision yourself more as a successful person and stop thinking about those self-limiting beliefs of, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I'm as good as Terry. Right? Stop doing that to yourself and just think in abundance. Don't think.
I love it. I love it. Terry, what has distilled in your mind as we've been chatting?
Ryan just punched me in the face. Freedom. That's what most of us want when we come here.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have it before we got here. But then once we see how hard freedom is to obtain, we shrink our goal back down to the level of our ambition and our current environment. So I want to leave you with one thought. Because you ain't got to be a carbon. You don't have to be anybody else. In this system, you can be yourself and use the resources of the system. Right? So you play to your strengths and then you partner with your weaknesses. So I want to leave you with this right here. Do you want freedom or do you really just want attention? Because being original, that'll get you attention, but being duplicatable is going to build you a business that leads to financial freedom. Don't build a system around your talent, but build a system around what any new person can do. Don't originate, duplicate. It ain't nothing wrong with being a copycat as long as you are copying the right cat, baby. We ain't looking for more voices. We're looking for more echoes.
I love it. God, that was good. I'm not going to go last next time. Hey guys, here's my encouragement. I'll just say what I already said. Right? Hey, let's change our calendars for September. Please let this series of calls change your calendar for September, October, November, December. But let's not even think about October, November, December. Let's think about the next 4 weeks. What is going to change? Let's put some scores on the board. Don't engage in avoidance and call it leadership. Let's put some scores on the board. We need new leadership. We need new faces. And I promise you, if you're on this call and you can hear my voice, you can lead at the highest of levels. Terry, Brandon, and Chang and I, we are all products in development still. So don't wait for you to feel like a leader. Because as for myself, I still don't feel like a leader a lot of times because I know I'm a product in development, right? You know what I'm saying? So that feeling won't ever go away. So let's get out and lead. In fact, if you have that feeling, that means we need you as a leader. That's beautiful humility that can grow and that can blossom. So we need you guys. Dadgum, I did forget a couple of times in this call that we're actually doing a call for everybody else. So I'm just glad I got to be a part of it. Terry, Brandon, Ryan, thank you guys for your examples. Thank you guys for your words. It was truly a joy to get to do these calls with you guys this week. I love y'all. Let's get out. Let's get after it. Let's attack it, guys.
Let's go.